We'll call the meeting of the City Council to order and state that the notice for this meeting was duly posted. There is a quorum of council present. Everyone's here except Councilman Marshall, who is still out of the country. If you will stand, our Missouri City Police Department Honor Guard will post our colors and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Will everyone please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There you go. Your part.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're here tonight to recognize a few families for some generous donations. We have a couple programs in our park and recreation system, where one is the Missouri City Memorial Tree Program, where you can plant a legacy to a friend or a loved one in one of Missouri City's parks, and our Missouri City Memorial Park Bench Program, where a park bench can be donated for a friend or loved one in one of Missouri City's parks. And we're here tonight to honor several families and an organization to recognize their outstanding contributions to city parks. And with that, I'd like to bring up the McClanahan family, the Kildare family, the Fox family, the Nichols family, and Quail Valley Garden Club. And all these families and the organization have exceeded in donations over $1,000 to Missouri City Parks and Recreation. So a big thank you to them.
Oh, you're going to get your picture taken.
You get on that side. There we go.
As soon as we get them back, I'm selling those pictures. I'm marketing those pictures. Just make some money.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Please. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But before we're done, Paul would like to make an announcement about an additional contribution.
And Larry, you might just explain a little bit what this program's about. There may be other people out there that are interested in doing the same thing.
Like Director Foos and Mayor Allen Owen said, we do have a memorial tree program that enables a family or a civic organization to purchase either a tree or a memorial bench with a plaque in honor of a member of their organization or a loved one. So all that information is available on our city website under the Parks and Recreation Department link. And we've also had some pretty other very neat programs over the last couple of years, but I think this one is probably the coolest one because it wasn't really our idea. It was this family's idea, the Nichols family. They're recognized tonight for a donation that they've already given the city, but they're ready to give even more through what we call the Missouri City Tree Challenge. Now I have some flyers in the back about where the agendas are, but we'll also have this posted on our website tomorrow morning. This is basically a match by the family. They said they're going to match any of their neighbors' contributions to buy trees in one of 5 of our Missouri City parks spread across town. So that's really an outstanding opportunity for people to kind of double their really neat idea, and it really shows the Nichols family love of not only this community, but particularly its trees. So very outstanding. Thank you.
Awesome.
Ready? All right. Wonderful. Thanks.
Oh, I'd also like to recognize Mr. Brett McPhee of Troop 659. He's an Eagle Scout. Doesn't look like he's here today. Well, I'll just briefly tell you that he finished his Eagle project by planting 30 trees at Stay Mall Park. So a small little forest, and a nice contribution, and we'll mail him his certificate.
We did have a scout, yeah, we have a scout that's here. Stand up and tell them who you're with. Very good. You're here working on your merit badge? Yes. Very good. Thanks for coming. This you, Wes? I know. Where is, you the only one here in finance? Come up. Where's Charles? We don't count them. Anyway, I want to read this. This is, says it's a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, and it's presented to City of Missouri City, Texas, for its comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2011. A Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting is presented by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada to government units and public employee retirement system whose comprehensive annual financial reports achieve the highest standards in government accounting and financial reporting. And how many years is this? 22 years straight that the City of Missouri City has received this because of the excellent financial staff that we have here. So, and let me just say that this is not presented to everybody. There are very few cities who get this, and I can tell you very few cities have had it 20-something years in a row. So congratulations to Wes and his entire staff for another great year. We tell him if he breaks the chain, he's fired.
A lot of pressure.
No pressure. You know, twice a year, we get to recognize businesses in the city that serve food to our citizens. And we recognize them in a way that I think is indicative of the type of businesses that they run. We call it the Clean Restaurant Award. Needless to say, it's because of clean restaurants. And let me just say that this is something that these particular individuals take pride in doing. This is not something that's looked at very lightly. I can tell you that our health inspection department is very thorough when they go in these restaurants, and they don't give these awards out just frivolously. They give them out to people that have done an outstanding job. And I want the citizens of Missouri City to realize that those people that are here tonight, and I want you to listen to the number of multiple winners and the number of times that they have been recognized for what they've done tonight, and patronize those businesses. You know, when you're in their businesses, tell them how much you appreciate them taking that extra effort to serve the quality food and the quality service that merits this award. You know, some years ago when we started doing this and started putting grades on the doors, people began to recognize the fact that there are restaurants that are A's or B's or C's, and then there are some that get numbers. And I also will say that on our website, you can go in and look at those scores, print them out. And again, when you're in those businesses that have achieved getting recognized, thank them for what they're doing. It's not easy for them. They're not, you know, they can't be there 24 hours a day and supervise their staff. And a lot of times, as we know, things happen. So, you know, again, we've got a lot of them here, and I know that some of them are working and are not able to be here, but, you know, we grade these just like school. So 100 is perfect. And we have people who continually score perfect. And I'm going to read these restaurant names out and their scores and ask them to come up here and receive their award. You want to give them? They should be in order. So again, if they're not here, that's not any indication that they don't care. It means that they're working. So, Ora's Restaurant at 3340 FM 1092, number 160. They had a score of 97, and they are a multiple winner. Brentwood 3 Fish Market at 1941 Texas Parkway. Come on up. Yes, a score of 96, and they're a multiple winner. Brook Street Barbecue, 7232 Highway 6, score of 95, another multiple winner. Yes, stay up here. Burger King, 2207 Texas Parkway, scored a 97, and they're a multiple winner. Reno's Italian Grill at 5750 Highway 6, a 96. Another multiple winner. Catfish Willie's at 2435 Texas Parkway, a 97. Multiple winner. We have a first-time winner, Center Court Pizza and Brew at 7425 Highway 6. They scored a 98. Chef Ray, 2865 Dulles. Perfect score of 100. Chef Ray's a multiple winner, by the way. Another multiple winner. I don't know how many times this has been for Chick-fil-A, but it's been every time, I think, since we've been doing this. Every single time we've given this award, Chick-fil-A's here at 6124 Highway 6 with a 96. Chili's at 5788 Highway 6, a 95, and they're a multiple winner. Domino's, 2435 Texas Parkway, a 97. They're a multiple winner. Then we've got some more first-time winners. Don Julio's Mexican Restaurant at 9009 Sienna. By the way, great way to start off, be the first time. Be the 100 all of them, right? Yeah. Fuzzy's Tacos at 4875 Highway 6, first time winner, and they scored 100. Fun Time at 3310 FM 1092, they're a first time winner, and they scored 100, perfect score. Here's another one of those that I think's been here probably every time we've done this, Kenshin Sushi at 4751 Highway 6, they scored a 96. AFC on Texas Parkway, a 96, they're a multiple winner. La Escondida, 7270 Highway 6, 95, they're a multiple winner. McDonald's at 6129 Highway 6, a 98. They're a multiple winner. The New York Pizzeria on 5320 Highway 6, they're a multiple winner, and they scored 100. Nizam's Kitchen at 5211 Highway 6, they're a first-time winner and a 96. Pepperoni's in Siena, they scored a 98 and they're a multiple winner. Pizza Hut, 7110 Highway 6, a 98 and they're a multiple winner. QQ China, 10,330 Highway 6. They're a multiple winner and they scored a 97. Popeyes at 10,220 Highway 6, a 96, and they're a multiple winner. Slotska's at 5320 Highway 6. They scored a 96 and they're a multiple winner. The Smoothie Factory at 5330 Highway 6, a 96 and they're a multiple winner. Starbucks at 4721 Highway 6. They scored a 97 and they're a multiple winner. How about Star Cinema Grill? This is their first time and they scored a 95. Go over and watch a movie and eat too. That's not a bad deal. Subway, Highway 1092, they're a multiple winner and they scored a 97. Got another Subway at 4225 Siena Parkway, and they scored a 96, and they're a multiple winner. Whataburger, 8820 Highway 6 with a 95, and they're a multiple winner. And we'll round it off with the last two, Which Wish, 8840 Highway 6, they're a multiple winner, and they scored 100. And then we have, finally but not least, Wingstop, 2240 Texas Parkway. They're a multiple winner and they scored 100.
I know everybody's trying real hard, and I know there's a lot of people here, but we have a lot of restaurants. It's real hard to get a 95. So they're doing real good. Thank you.
It's
a big picture. You better get way back here.
You are in charge. You
Are y'all getting
stop
like you
by
like
and
each
then
other?
you have a direct impact.
Get close like you like each other. Come on, Henry. Come on, Henry.
He's the owners of Slot Key.
Barbie, you don't push that mic down. You're all right.
What one is that for determinate?
Well, I would do it. I just go come in and say I'm interested.
Did y'all all bring samples?
I think they should. The district, I have to do it. He would represent a lot. Lay it out there. For the district.
There's a smorgasbord out there,
No samples, huh?
Next time, Bob. This group's getting bigger and bigger. I love it. I see sales tax.
I told Don, I said, he should, he said, let each district council to give number one to that district people. District A, you get district, because you're making that district.
Very good. Congratulations, Don.
Hey, man. Good to see you. See you soon.
Congratulations, man. Awesome.
Man, how you doing?
How are you? Congratulations.
Good to see you, buddy. Congratulations. Awesome.
Congratulations, man.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job. Samples next time.
That's the problem, we keep giving them the award and we don't get the samples.
Where's my slot key? Sample. Come on, man. Yes, madam.
Congratulations.
Whatever. Yes. Hey, promise you hear that?
That's your boss. That's a Whataburger boss, huh?
1, 2, 3.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. All right, item 4 on the agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity for people to address council. I did not have anyone sign up for public comments. Item 5 are staff reports. Our Parks and Rec Director is going to make a great report on Saturday's activities. By the way, Floyd and I wore our shirt.
That's
in honor
right.
of
Noticed that.
Yes, in honor of you, Larry.
Some guys didn't get the message, I don't know.
I sweated in my shirt.
Yeah. That's right, Jerry wore his out.
Mayor and council, first and foremost, thank you all for your attendance Saturday. It was a wonderful event. We didn't know what to expect attendance-wise, but when the parking lot filled up before 10 o'clock, we knew that it was going to be busy. So, did want to say that Bobby Marshall sent me an email before the event wanting me to, he wanted to express his congratulations for the event and say that he wished he could be there, but his volunteer work out of the country prevented him from doing so. Hopefully I can present, okay. Some of the activities we had going on, here's a shot of the boot camp, and the boot camp was done by Body Elite. It's an example of a total body workout. And everybody that we had there that day as instructors are people we're trying to work with to get ongoing programs. One of the other activities was the farmers market. I know we briefly talked about that as a possibility in the future at a location to be determined later. But we would have had produce and more things outside had the weather not saturated the ground. So we did what we could inside in one of the multi-purpose rooms. In the weight room, we were pleased to have Sports Talk 790 do a live remote. Danny Arnold, the owner of Plex Gym, hosts a weekly fitness-oriented radio show. And on his right is N.D. Kalu, is a former Houston Texan and a Rice grad. And then Chester Pitts on the left is another former Texan, both Missouri City residents.
Both said they're going to use the facility, too.
And then he interviewed Eddie Bowers.
Here are some of the Plex staff, and what they did was a mini training sessions for folks. What they normally do is sports medicine and fitness training, and in our sports performance area on the turf, they were showing some higher levels, sports-oriented training and fitness activities.
High level indeed.
One of the neatest things I saw was the wheelchair basketball.
Yeah, that was
super.
awesome.
The people in the blue are it's the organized team. And able-bodied folks could get out there in chairs and participate. And we had some pretty fit people out there. They came out thinking, this looked hard. It doesn't, getting out there, but watching it doesn't do it justice. They said it's harder than it looks. So tip of the hat to these folks.
Didn't we also have some playing tennis?
Yeah, we had wheelchair tennis also.
Yeah, we had wheelchair tennis, I thought, yes. Oh,
Look at this.
look at this.
Okay, we had a tennis demonstration also. We had Bill Atkinson and Councilmember Wyatt taking on Mayor Scarcella and Don Cooper, one of our tennis committee members. And Councilmember Wyatt and Bill Atkinson did us proud. They won 6-2. something that was a little unexpected as far as I was concerned was Congressman Green. He made a presentation of a flag that had been flying over the Capitol and awarded that to us in honor of the grand opening. Very generous gift. And we capped off the activities with a ribbon cutting and additional festivities and activities until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We had a few of the other things we had going on. ARC had a fair with the Boy Scouts with inclusive type games and prizes. Open play basketball. We had early childhood music class, Zumba class, yoga, karate demonstration, tumbling, a spinning class, batting cages with instruction, 10 and under tennis, and police department was there with child ID cards, and the fire department was there with the truck initially. At the activity, I just wanted everybody to know that I saw a lot of folks from the old facility that were there, checking out the new facility. That was good to see. We also sold 38 memberships on Saturday. And just to put that in perspective, that's just a shade under $5,000. For the entire previous fiscal year, we sold $17,000 worth of membership. So the first day was very successful. That's all I have.
Very good.
Wonderful.
I know there are a lot of people out there, looking forward to different kinds of classes, and especially our seniors are looking for, aerobics and things like that. So it's outstanding. I know every single one of us probably had tons of people tell us what a great facility it is, and it's the people's facility.
We will release our program schedule probably really early into August. We're working on that now. We're securing all of our instructors. Instructors wanted to come in and see the facility, and we're still going through that process. We're going to have a wide range of activities. Senior aerobics is coming over from the old place.
Fantastic.
So,
Larry, talk about senior citizen. What is our current discount rate for senior citizens?
I think it's a $15 a month membership.
$165 a year.
If you pay it in advance, yes, you get a free month, and it's $165 total.
$440
So is that like
for a family.
Less than 10% discount?
It's a free month, basically, if you pay it in advance.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper than the other facilities around town for what we got.
I believe we should give more discount for our senior citizens, at least 30%.
I'm a senior. Keep it where it is.
Well, you're not the
We
only.
gotta pay for it.
You are not the only one. You're not on the.
I'm a senior, let's keep it where it is.
Yeah. I think if we, we're not doing it at the golf course.
What I also saw, if any farmers market people here, I saw Councilmember Smith was walking with Congressman, and he ended up buying.
He did.
He did, and buying a jar of product from there and taking it with him. So I was.
There's been some good
They were
jobs.
selling honey and salsa, I think, were their big hot
Also, that's
ticket.
what he bought.
Yeah, he bought salsa.
And hot tamales.
All that healthy stuff. Very good job.
excellent job.
Fantastic job by the staff, and it's just awesome what people are saying about the facility, so.
We're excited it's open.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, item 6 is consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion, Councilman Ellencat made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7 are public hearings and related actions at 7A1.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, changing the zoning classification of an approximate 3.6-acre tract of land from CF Community Facilities District in part and R4 Patio Cluster Residential District in part to PD Plan Development District Number 84, describing said 3.68-acre tract of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such PD Plan Development District, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City as adopted by ordinance number 0811 on January 19, 1981, as amended, repealing parts of ordinance number 08421 adopted on January 2, 1984, repealing ordinance number 099 adopted on April 16, 1990, repealing all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Any changes?
No change.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mayor
And
Pro
we
Tem
took care of
White
the
made
fee.
the motion, Councilman Smith made the second.
The fee has been processed and they have been refunded.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7A2.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, changing the zoning classification of an approximate 10.97 acre tract of land from R5 Townhome Residential District to PD Plan Development District Number 85, describing said 10.97 acre tract of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such PD Plan Development District, referencing the site plan, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City as adopted by ordinance number 081-1, adopted on January 19, 1981 as amended, repealing parts of ordinance number 082-23, adopted on June 21, 1982, repealing all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Acting on behalf of Councilman Bobby Marshall, who's not here, I move to adopt.
Second.
All right, been a motion by Councilman Smith, second by Councilman Emery. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you. Go to work.
That's good work.
All right, item 7B1.
An order of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, finding and declaring the building and structures located at 3202 Confederate Drive in the City of Missouri City, Texas to be public nuisances and ordering the repair or alternatively the demolition and removal of the building and structures and providing for severability.
And this is the first and final reading of this.
This item came before you in early June, and there is a PowerPoint reading of this. But other than at the June 4th meeting, Mr. Zanaga introduced himself as the owner of the property. It has been confirmed that he's the owner of the property. Mr. Wells, the building official, and I met with Mr. Zanaga to see what his plans were. We requested a detailed statement of how he intended to progress through the work and give us that information, because our ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, requires that if it's going to take more than 30 days to complete the work, then you have to have a detailed schedule. That's a laser pointer. One day I'll get it right. House was damaged on February 3rd. Not very large pictures on the screen, but you can see that it was severely damaged. Basically, the second floor was burned off the house. March 2nd, a month later, Dale Wells, our chief building official, inspected the premises, found it to be substandard. At that time, it was unsecured from unauthorized entry. It's burned out above the first floor, and most of the first floor is burned out. As it stands right now, it is not worthy to stand against the storm, the potential of the upper floors falling, additional damage. However, the good news is that Mr. Zanaga has gone in and he has put plywood up on the doors and windows to close the doors and windows, as you can see here. Unfortunately, it has not changed much, if other than the boarding being put up since June 4th. Mr. Zanaga is here and he can address it in its current condition. After we gave notice, in its current condition, staff recommends an order of demolition unless Mr. Zanaga can provide you with a schedule and convince you that he is prepared and able to move forward to restore the house. Staff would love to see somebody else's expense go in to fix that house up so that it becomes a viable asset within the community. We do not want to incur taxpayer expense to remove it. However, if it is not going to be repaired, we have no alternative but to request that from the council.
Refresh my memory, when the last time Mr. Zuniga was here, what was said? What was determined?
If I recall, Mr. Zuniga represented that he could have the work done, and most recently, so my memory goes to the more recent conversations, within 6 weeks, he can have the work completed once he starts. He is finishing a similar project in the medical center area. He has shown me a photograph of that as it neared completion. Last week, he needed to pour the driveway. I would say weather has not been on his side in the last week in trying to finish up flat work and outside work on that house. If his work at that house, or if his work at this house on Confederate is the same as his work at that house in the medical center, he will finish with a good product. We have not had applications for a demo permit, and we have had discussions with him about the kind of insurance he proposes to provide. We're willing to work with him on that. However, the neighborhood needs relief from the structure in the neighborhood, and it needs to be maintained.
Gary, if I may ask, we have, in the last time we talked about, I remember him being here, and he was going to secure this.
He did put the boards up around the first floor. There's no second floor to put it up around. But then again, virtually all the entry
Where
would
did the
be.
property and medical center came about? We didn't talk about that last time?
It's my understanding, he had been working on that.
Right, but I'm saying is he didn't talk about that last time.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Yeah, he said that he had another project going on that was, because we asked him, what experience have you had in doing this? And he said he had another house.
So what was,
He said, though, that he'd have this one started, I want to
Yes.
say, by the beginning of June, at that meeting. And
He's
so-
right here.
He's right here.
Oh.
Easier for him to address it than for me.
I haven't been able to get started over here because of the weather's delayed me on my other project, but my start date is July 30th here on 3202 Confederate. I haven't pulled the permit for demolition because we've been going back and forth with the type of insurance that Missouri City requires and the type of insurance that I've had in the past that covered my company and my liability. That's the only reason I haven't pulled the permit. But as I stand today, my guys were going to do touch-ups on my house in the medical center this week, and then we start on July 30th on 3202.
can I ask you something? You
Yes,
talk
sir.
about the weather, but it's been raining for the last 2 weeks, not in the beginning of June.
It's been raining, yes, but the reason I do is I start my projects, and I don't like to leave one project unattended. When I start on the road on 3202, once my boots hit the ground there, my guys do not leave that project till it is completely done. And that's the way it's the process that I put together with my business, because I don't like to have guys here and have guys there and have projects started and
I
not
understand
finished.
that, but that's your preference. But my only issue is I'm looking at if that was near your house, in your neighborhood.
I understand. I completely understand, and it's a misfortune that the house burned down.
It is. It's
you know?
very unfortunate.
And
I'm
I
just
stand to
saying.
lose more than anybody here if the house is demolished. You know, that's why I'm here, to be able to ask
What
for
are we
you guys'
asking
permission.
from him?
In order to allow him more than 30 days to complete the job, and your representation is you will have it completed within 6 weeks from the time it starts, he must give us a detailed schedule of the work and how he's going to proceed so that we can get reports and keep track of that schedule. That's in the ordinance.
Okay.
So what is he going to do in 6 weeks?
I'm going to frame the project. The framing should take 2 weeks. After I frame it, I bring in my electrical, my plumbing guys. They re-plumb everything, make sure all the permits are pulled with Missouri City. Once you guys inspect it and pass it, I drywall it, I finish it out with flooring, all the finishing, all the trim work, and I'm done.
So you can finish it in 6 weeks?
Have we made a determination on the internal structure of this house? Can this house be salvageable? I mean, I drove out there and saw this house. This house is,
And you know my background, and I'm not going to try to answer your question, although it's a good question. I'm going to ask Mr. Wells to answer that question.
Currently, at this time, I have not seen a structural report or any condition of the interior. So it's been my past experience that a home like this, if it's structurally sound and the floor hasn't cracked or changed due to the heat, it probably could be rebuilt. It's kind of marginal at this point in time with, because I haven't been inside of it, but I think that he could probably rebuild it with the damage that is currently there. It takes a major work.
and part in what he's going to do in 2 weeks, part of the code says that this house has to be protected from the outside elements, which means he needs a roof.
That's I'll let him speak to
I mean, he can board up windows, but he needs to,
Yeah.
Sorry, as soon as I start on July 30th, the very first thing I'm doing is framing the house out. And when I frame it out, I'm putting a roof on it and then putting new windows, and it'll be secure in the property.
The last time you were here, Mr. Zuniga, I was rooting for you, man. You saying, I'm gonna get in here and we're gonna make sure this thing works, and I got experience, and don't worry about it. Come back a couple of months later, the first thing is, you're telling me that you have some sort of problems with the codes, with getting permits. This is not Houston.
I don't have any problems with the code. Your ordinance is different than the city of Houston. I've never purchased a property in Missouri City. Now, the way your structure is and your ordinances are they're different than the city of Houston. That's why my current insurance that I used to have in the city of Houston is different from what you guys
That's not going
require.
to make muster when we come back, and you still having that kind of
No, I
problem.
understand that.
And it's not going to, you got a deadline. You got some time constraints here.
And I understand that, and it's in my best interest to finish this property as soon as possible.
We understand your side of it. We want you to understand our side of it.
I get it. I mean, it's in our both best interest to get this property finished. Because if you guys tear it down, then it's going to incur taxpayers' money. If you have to mow it, if it's an empty lot, it's taxpayers' money. If I build it up and I sell it, it's somebody else's home, and then you collect taxes on it.
well, we say that as a reality, but this won't be the first house that we've torn down at taxpayers' money. I'm gonna make sure you're aware of that. And we've done some a lot more expensive than this in terms of property, okay? But the key thing is that you've had time to do a plan.
I currently have the blueprints for the home, the original
If you don't have the
blueprints.
plan, has the plan been submitted, or the activity, what he's going to do? Then you haven't done, you got blueprints, you need a plan, you need something that's gonna say where I am going to be at certain stages with reconstructing this house. So if you have to come back here without a plan, I can tell you right now, we're gonna tear it down,
Okay.
okay? So you need to, first thing you need to get with staff and get your plan in place, so we know where you're going. We got people out there whose values,
Absolutely.
okay, are for lack of a better word, under attack because of this structure. And nobody wants to live around that. But people like to know that this council is saying, you got to do something in action, and it's got to be more than your words.
I understand.
The only action that's been happening is raining.
What's the confidence level that you have in being able to start on the 30th? I mean,
I'm 100% sure I'm starting on the 30th. It's the very next project on my line. There's no other projects other than this one.
so you'll be finished with the project that you have down in the medical center to get your...
Yes, sir, that
Your crews up
project
there?
should be done, that project should be wrapping up this week, by Wednesday at the very latest, and we should be able to get started.
I think probably what you need to understand is that by the time that we have our first meeting in August, which is August, what date?
August 6th.
Huh?
The 6th?
6th. If you haven't started,
A plan.
we're going, a plan, and you get everything to these people that they need, and you get started on it, come August 6th, we are going to vote to tear this house down. No excuses, nothing going forward. Work with these guys, get them there, get them a schedule, and get started, rain, shine, whatever. That's what you're telling us tonight, July 30th. That's what those people that live around it are going to expect your crew to be there doing something by no later than July 30th. But I'm telling you, by August 6th, when you come to this meeting,
We need to see action.
we're going to see that you've had 2 weeks' worth of work, or we're going to declare this a substandard structure, and there won't be any excuses going forward. Okay?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
What's your estimated schedule date for completion?
6
How long will it
weeks.
take you? 6 weeks?
6 weeks, yes, sir.
6 weeks.
Okay.
Gary, what's the problem with pulling the permits? Mr. Wells?
At this point in time, we have not had any application for anything, but the
Okay.
issue on the demolition permit, to issue that, we would need to have his liability insurance for obtaining the permit. And that's the only thing that we're waiting for on that. And so far, I have not received anything relating to the minimum city-required liability insurance.
Okay. And you're going to get that to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're on record.
Yes, sir.
So I guess the motion would be to not take any action on this
And
and
to
put it
set
on the
this for
August the 6th.
reconsideration for August 6th.
Yes. All right?
Thank you.
Yes,
Be
sir.
your
You
new
go.
district.
I moved it to...
Motion by Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Second.
second by Councilman
What's the
Emery,
motion again?
that he's got to have them what they need and start construction before our next meeting on August 6th, or we will vote to issue the demolition. Okay. Been a motion and a second? All those in favor? Motion carried. B2,
An order of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, finding and declaring the building and structures located at 11710 North Evelyn Circle in the City of Missouri City, Texas, to be public nuisances and ordering the repair or alternatively the demolition and removal of the building and structures and providing for severability.
yes, sir. Bernie, do you want to talk now, or you want to wait until Gary gives you the report of what we're going to do?
Go ahead and talk.
Okay.
Before I begin the PowerPoint, I received an email this afternoon, and I promised Ms. Kent I would read it to the council. I emailed you previously about this house. I think there's a typo in the email, but we have had to hire Terminex to try and solve our rat problem. The earlier email was about the rats coming from the house on North Evelyn. They have not been able to rid us of the rodents. They just keep coming. Attached is a photo I took today that shows the sidewalk practically impassable, and the board is coming off the window on our side of the house. This information is probably too late for the meeting tonight, but I just wanted to update you. The house at North Evelyn, record title shows to be in Hector M. Zavala and Irma A. Zavala. It's in Fondren Park, Section 1, Lot 3 of Block 1. Landholder by record shows to be City Financial, Inc. Having said that, the Zavalas for over a year have denied any ownership interest in this house. And yes, we should have brought this house to you much sooner, but it slipped through the cracks. It had a fire in the garage and kitchen area. So the outside isn't like the other ones we've seen. 2011, the garage, there was a fire in the garage, caused significant structural damage. I've selected a few photographs, although if you can look at it more closely, the first photograph will show you the smoke that came out around all the eaves. You can see how the fire went through the attic on the other top photo and burned a hole into the house. Then there's the kitchen area, and the rafters above the garage are severely charred and damaged. On May 23rd, Mr. Wells, our chief building official, inspected the premises under an administrative search warrant, found it to be substandard based upon our code provisions. It was re-inspected last week under another administrative search warrant. The condition has not changed. It's dilapidated, substandard, it's unfit for human habitation. It's a hazard to public health, safety, and welfare. The damage to the roof and the rafters in the area of the garage and kitchen. The roofing is not intact. There's a hole in the roof. The roof is sagging. And some of the boards on the gable end of the house away, I'm going to say on the north end of the house, and I could be wrong, could be the west end of the house, is missing, has been missing. Fire damage to the roof and the garage, open conducive to the harboring of rats, as we have heard from the email, and other disease-carrying animals. The roof framing is damaged, and so it's not sufficient to connect all the exterior walls. More detail from Mr. Wells' report. It's unfit for human habitation. It is secured from unauthorized entry by plywood. However, there are boards missing. it is possible for somebody to enter the structure, and based upon the email that I received today and from the photo, one of the boards on one of the windows is starting to come off, so the effort to secure the house is not truly sufficient.
Who boarded it up? Do we know that?
We don't know.
And how long has it been boarded up?
Better part of a year. At least that's my assumption. Mr. Orloff may give us much better detail. He denies any interest. He denies any interest in it and said it wasn't his since before the fire. You can see more fire damage in here. These are more recent photographs. You can see how far down the smoke came in the house, stained the walls. You can see the holes in the ceiling and the damage to the rafters. Notice was published on July 4th of this meeting tonight. It was mailed to the owner, the lien holder, and was posted on the property. Matter of fact, it's posted twice on the property and a red tag telling you to stay out of the property. There's a door that's leaning across the front porch. I don't know where it came from or what it's to. It's just there.
Gary, when was the fire?
I believe in March of last year.
If a house would burn down to that condition today, will it take this long for us to act on this now?
I hope not. This one fell between the cracks. I do not have an excuse. All I can tell you is we missed it. We knew about it, and then we didn't follow up on it.
Do you know if anyone maintaining the lawn or cutting it or any of that?
It's not being maintained.
At all?
To speak of, no.
You heard from the lien holder?
Lien holder is City Financial.
Have you heard from them?
No.
Tear it down.
We're recommending that, in accordance with the ordinance, you give the owner 30 days to tear it down. If they don't, the lien holder gets another 30 days. At the end of 60 days, we'll be out there trying to tear it down.
In this case, why can't we notify and this may be procedures, why can't we notify the owner and the lien holder at the same time?
It's the term of the ordinance, which comes from the state statute that requires that we notify them at the same time, but the homeowner gets 30 days, and then the lien holder gets the next 30 days.
And I understand that, but we can notify both, and at the end of 30 days, we can notify the lien holder again.
We will notify them as soon as this.
But both of them, both the lien holder and the owner have not responded to anything up until now, right?
They have not.
I mean, the record owner of the house has denied ownership.
That's correct.
So it's useless for us to send them a notice when they're going to deny that they own it to begin with.
Other than the statute and our ordinance requires us to do it as due process.
Even in an abandoned house.
And
The city secretary is looking up, or not city, I'm sorry. The city attorney is very quickly as far as looking up, just to validate or verify if we cannot maybe move.
I mean, this is a public nuisance.
We do need to give both the homeowner and the lien holders equal opportunities to correct the facility, and I just want to confirm, I believe we could drop them to 15 and 15.
Well, that's a lot better than 30 and 30.
And that's what I was...
Now, in all reality, if there had been anyone who expressed any interest in repairing the structure, we would, of course, want to give them an appropriate opportunity to do that.
I understand that, but in this case, no one is denying responsibility at all, and yet it's a public nuisance.
Let me also add another thing. If there's rats and other sort of, that's...
Vermin.
Yeah, that's getting into the other houses or getting into other properties. I mean, how would that... Is there any regulations for that? I mean, if it's going into, I guess, someone else's house or...
If there are any particular animal control issues, certainly we can send animal control out there to investigate and determine that.
That will make the schedule more aggressive.
Right, correct.
So
But we do need to...
But you feel like 15 and 15 works?
Yeah, I'd just like to...
While she's looking up that, may I ask you, and I'm still back on this, if this happens again, what has changed? What process has changed to make sure that this doesn't carry on as long?
The Confederate one is a good example of where you're doing a more aggressive schedule. You had a March 2012 fire with Confederate that council realistically could have, back in June, ordered the demolition of.
Yeah.
If the current owner of it hadn't come along to say, I've purchased it, I'm ready to work on the rehabbing the facility, and council hearing that and adjusting the schedule accordingly, that building could already be in the process of demolition. So it's one of where I know that code enforcement and the fire department now especially are having much better communications when one of these fires happens, so that, Confederate is one where, it was quite extensive fire, but Dale is going in now pretty well, I think after every fire. Would that be for every residential structure?
Immediately after every fire, or when the fire actually happens, I try to be there while the fire department's still there, take photographs, send out a letter automatically to the owners of the property, and start the process immediately the day the fire happens, or at least within 10 days after the fire happens is my maximum.
And then there's a tickler file or something to kind of keep us on course with this thing, right?
That pops up on my calendar every time deadline comes up, it automatically hits my calendar, and it tells me I need to get out there and do a letter, the next step in the process.
And problem with some of these, I know we get some, and the people are working with their insurance company.
Yeah.
And I imagine that hasn't been the case with either one of these.
It's part of the,
which takes some time.
The software system that we're going to, is that going to help them out?
I would hesitate to say.
Application, yeah.
It may help with as far as the files, but a lot of this is just as far as manpower keeping up with each step of it. And some of it, I think some of the conversation a minute ago kind of alluded to, partly what we sometimes run into is just, with this one, where there's nobody claiming ownership, which we think would make it easier, actually makes it more complicated, because you're busy searching down rabbit holes to find who is the owner, who is responsible party, so we don't end up tearing something down and then in a lawsuit afterwards with somebody saying, you tore down my house and you gave me no notification. And it's one of where just crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
And
What'd you find
certainly,
out?
in the context of the most recent Supreme Court case, Stewart v. Dallas, that's of a heightened concern as well. And part of the process does involve the legal department pulling title, and that usually does run 2 to 3 weeks at a minimum to get that done. Sometimes they take a little bit longer.
What are the taxes paid on this house last?
Goodness.
And who paid them?
I can pull it up.
But did you have an answer on
Don't have that answer.
I do have a question, an answer on the...
Tells you who the owner is.
I do have an answer on the previous question. The ordinance does require that a reasonable amount of time for repair or demo be allotted, both to the owner and to the lien holder. So my question is to the building official, is there any time less than 30 days for each of those parties that would be reasonable? And if so, what would be the minimum amount?
I think the 15 days would be appropriate, since the owner has been contacted, and I've talked to him, he denies responsibility for it, and has expressed to me that he has no interest in doing it.
Does he even think there's debt still left on this house? I mean, he says he doesn't own it. Did he say he paid it off and just let him have it, or?
I don't know the finances on it. From my understanding, there was a loan on the property that apparently his insurance didn't have enough to cover repairs to it, and he just walked away from it. So they didn't have it back. And that's a statement he,
But there's been no foreclosure.
not that I'm aware of.
No, record does not reflect that.
That's why we need to notify both.
If I may give Councilmember Smith a little more comfort, the reason I believe this situation will not arise again is, one, we have Dale Wells watching things more closely than we had in the past. Two, weekly, I report to the city manager the status of the firehouses and the substandard structures. We keep that list rolling, we keep it updated on what is happening so that they stay in front of us. And monthly, we also keep a list updated that we report to the city manager so that we won't have this happen again.
Is there any tie-in between the fire department and, I would assume any of their records where, they've logged in fires that we make sure that, we're privy or not privy, but, we have access to those so we can make sure nothing falls through the cracks?
We get emails from Russell and other members of the fire department every time there's a fire. We got one today.
Okay.
And Dale and Elena went out to check the restaurant where they had a small fire. We had 2 last week, one on Friday, one on Thursday during the rainstorms. It's amazing we have fires during rain.
But also keeping my next door neighbor's house caught on fire last year, and it still took, now they were doing everything they were supposed to do, but it took them 7 months to get that house back the way it was. But they were doing something.
Well, I think as long as you show some action, that, you're taking some
But it does
positive
take
action.
sometimes. That's why 6 weeks kind of bothered me.
So we feel comfortable with 15 and 15.
Coming up in here.
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, did that answer all of your questions, or you still want to make any comments?
The only comment I have to make is Mr. Ball owes maintenance to me. And I want the money.
Get in line, baby. I bet he owes city taxes too, so get in line.
But, how do we go about getting it? You're gonna come.
File your lien. File your lien.
Lien's automatic.
Maybe the property doesn't really exist.
That's all we're going to be able to do too, is to recover our cost of tearing that house down. We will file a lien, and at some point in time, somebody steps forward. And there may not be enough money left to pay everybody off.
Property over on Ocean. I don't want to use nothing like that.
Yeah.
I've been fighting against this property for almost 15 years now.
That's property we can deal.
Yeah. 15 and 15. We'll tear it down. Unless somebody steps up and wants to do something with it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, is there a motion?
Other questions?
I move to,
Do we need a motion?
do we?
We do need a motion and a second. I need to confer on one small detail.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the 30 days as long as they get notified at the same
It's in
time.
15.
And I don't want to get in conflict with our own ordinance.
Yeah. If it says reasonable, that's fine.
It's fine, yes. Motion and second. I just wanted to confirm one last thing.
I second that.
So the motion is to demolish the remaining,
Is to give them 15-day notice to both the lien holder and the owner, and at the end of 15 days, if we've not heard back, we start demolition.
demolition process.
And that motion including changing this order.
To 15 days and 15 days for both owners, record owners, and lien holders.
Okay.
Mayor, who was the gentleman you were speaking to in the audience?
Oh, that's Bernard Orloff. He's president of the homeowner association, or Fondren Park.
Fun, okay. No, I just needed
Yeah.
to understand who that
Yeah.
was.
What's the timing is for once we give the order to have it torn down? What's the?
Start on it immediately. They'll have to get a
Contract.
over
Is that
there.
something we do? I'm assuming?
Gary and
Through
them will.
Gary?
About $5,000.
We will work with Mr. Oberender to solicit appropriate bids to get demolition contractor on board, have it ready at the end of the 30 days.
Typically, about $5,000 to bulldoze one.
Yeah, I'm looking more at the times,
And we
fast track
do we have to
it, so-
bid that?
Well, it'll have to go out for quotes, but we can have a contract in place ready to
Yeah.
hammer if, when this 30 days is.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're having, rat problems, we need to fast track it and get it down and
We have a rat problem when they
cleaned.
tear it down.
Yeah.
Rat
They gonna be
running
there,
everywhere.
Everywhere.
The thing that I would anticipate slowing things a bit would be that the house that we had torn down, no, I can't think of, just off South Gessner.
Yeah.
It took, I think, 2 days for them to remove things from the interior, and that house was pretty well burned. This one has not been burned as severely as that one, so there may be some delay in removing things so they can go in and do the demolition.
I'm just looking at the neighbor, is raising concerns about the infestation, so,
I'm
the faster
sure-
we can do it,
We're sensitive to that, and we want to move it forward as quickly as
And
possible.
we'll talk to animal control as well about both the rat issue now, as well as to make sure, Mayor Pro Tem White joked about it, but it was honest as well, about making sure, see what we can do about the rat issue prior to demolition as well.
Yeah. All right, there was a motion by Councilman Smith and a second by Councilman Wynn. All those in favor? Motion carries. Hello?
That's
The lien holder calling.
retirement ring.
It's the lien holder calling. All right, motion carries. Item 8 are appointments. There are no appointments. Mike, you're leaving us, right?
Yeah.
You gonna go teach school?
Uh-huh.
What are you gonna teach?
Journalism.
Journalism. Okay, we've done a good job reporting for us, and we just wanted to say good luck to you. I know tonight's your last meeting, and so write up a real good report here. Anyway, thank you for your good coverage of the city council meetings, and good luck to you. You bet. Now, give him a hand. All right, item 9 on authorizations. 9A is to consider the request to record the 10-20-year tax write-off summary. Pass that down to Maria. Is there a motion?
I move that we write off the delinquent tax amount of $2,411.25.
Got it. Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Ellencat. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 9B is consider authorizing the renewal of the contract for Community Development Block Grant Program Management Services.
I move to adopt.
Second?
Councilman Smith made the motion. Mayor Pro Tem White made, wasn't it? Made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Sit down, Gary. Don't wake that sleeping dog. Item 10, ordinance is 10A.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending ordinance number O-1216 adopted May 21, 2012 by amending the redistricting plan and the list of 2010 census voting tabulation districts and blocks.
Their motion, this is the first of 2 readings.
So moved.
Councilman Emery made the motion. Who made the second? Councilman?
Second.
Huh? Councilman Ellencat? Okay, if there's discussion, not, we'll vote. All those in favor, motion carries. Item 11 are resolutions. 11A.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending the planning and development permit schedule of fees by amending fees related to signs, planning, and building, and by adding certain headings, repealing Resolution R-1033 adopted on December 20, 2010, and providing an effective date.
I know this is, obviously, it's coming to us from P&Z. Are we seeing it in its same form that P&Z approved?
That's another item.
Huh? Isn't this part of it?
These are the fees that
For the signs and permit.
have been developed based upon the sign ordinance, and while I had the door open, an opportunity to look at fees related to resubmittals.
Right.
And.
Okay, all right.
But
they're in
no.
2 different pieces, okay.
Two different.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt this resolution with an exception or an amendment to keep the sign permit plan review fee remain the same, which is $30. And
Instead
everything
of
else,
what?
instead of $150.
We had recommended $50. If it goes to $30, that will leave the fees that the individual business owner would pay to get a sign erected the same as they're paying under the old ordinance.
So why are you recommending that, Danny?
The reason for that, I have several discussions with staff, with Gary. The reason for that is I don't think this is a good time to create any additional burden on business owners. I think we should encourage, remain the fee the same so that we encourage business go into business and the existing business stay in business.
Well, I think we should take every opportunity to raise fees in line with what other cities are doing. When I had a developer here to tell me, and gave me his card, to share the information with, they're paying those fees everywhere else. Why shouldn't they pay those fees?
Well, each city is different. Our city, we have been trying to make an effort to attract more small business into in towns, and we're also trying to help them to maintain, to be in business so that they can provide services and products and pay tax for the cities. So because, let me finish, please. And because of that, I talked to Gary. He said the total anticipated additional revenues would be about $9,000 for the whole year. So I think that $9,000 is relatively insignificant in terms of encouraging people into the city, Mayor. So I'd like to, if you look at the schedules of increasing fees, I'm okay with all the stuff, but I just want to, at least to keep this fee still the same instead of going 5 times higher than the existing fee. And you don't want to have that kind of reputation in our city.
Earlier, we asked staff to go back and look at an annual sign permit fee, which other cities are paying.
Schedule fee.
So where are we in, I guess, in my question is in line with the other cities and this increase? Do we have any data of that?
I believe Mr. Elmer answered that question a couple of weeks ago. We're above midpoint.
We are above it.
We are above midpoint on our fees.
And it's very difficult to compare because we have different regulations and rules and businesses. Like you cannot compare you with other cities.
Well, I mean, if you're saying we're above midpoint, then I would agree with Councilmember Nguyen at the fact that if we were on the lower end, yeah, I can see that.
On this, one thing that we did as we looked at this, we divided some things. What we're not talking about, the recommendation includes the master sign review fee, which should help everything else move more smoothly. But in the past, we just charged one fee. Now we're dividing that between 2 areas. And we raised one of them, so if you follow Councilmember Nguyen's motion, if it's seconded and if it's approved, that only keeps the fee for the individual business sign permit the same.
But
all the others, if you can't get the plans right, third time you present it first, second review, that's covered in the first plan review payment. The third time we review it, same thing on the building side. If you can't get the comments addressed and you can't get it right, that's when we start charging because we don't want to design their sign, we don't want to design their project. So we want to cover our time that's involved in addressing that. If we have to go to the premise and re-inspect, first inspection's covered in the permit fee. Second one, we're going to charge extra for that. That's built into this. There are things that we're trying to cover staff's time with in these. Whether or not council wants to increase the individual business sign review cost and permit cost by $20 or wants to keep it the same, that's council's decision. Staff is happy to go wherever council directs us.
If I could mention to council, many years ago, probably in the early 2000s, we adopted a similar type of fee schedule for the major construction improvement, the public infrastructure permit fees, where a first review would be one fee and then a second review a smaller fee, but it still gets charged, whereas previously we did not charge that. And that had the benefit of actually getting plans through the city on a quicker basis, because we were having the occasion in the public infrastructure where they were designing through review on that. And they give us a set of plans. We'd spend a lot of staff time and effort. Sometimes we'd have 20-plus page review comments. So us continuing this graduated scale with additional inspections, additional reviews being covered, actually improved the quality of the plans that came in the door in the first place and sped up the process for plan review on the public infrastructure side. So that is something that we are now seeing a similar type occurrence on the private side with design through review being performed by city staff. So this is trying to take a page out of our previous book that we used and apply it to the private infrastructure as well.
Now, going back to the original question, are you saying that the $150 is midway, or the $30 is midway?
Overall, our fees are above midpoint. The 150 is not usual, it's not common in the Houston area. It's hard to get a comparison if you're one of the 4 cities doing it.
So
I don't.
So going back to what the mayor said, was the 30 or the 150 the midpoint?
But the 30 is pretty close to midpoint, if I'm not mistaken, for the plan review for sign fees.
That one, yeah. We're talking about that one fee.
For one.
So how did we come up with 150?
No, that's the master sign plan.
That's what we were talking about.
No, we're talking about the permit for an individual business sign. A master sign plan covers the entire shopping center.
And that's going from 30 to 150?
It's going from nothing.
We didn't have
It didn't exist before. It's going to 150.
From 0 to 150.
We weren't
It's not
charging.
in there. This is on this sheet right here. And Mayor, if you remember, not too long ago, we've been working very hard to come up with the new regulations, the science ordinance, to prove to the business community that we have the flexibility. We favor business coming to town. And now, the consequence is that we're going to increase fee from 0 to $150. So that will create a negative impact or image in the communities.
So you mean to tell me a business that come in, gonna put in a $2.5 million business, gonna go away because of $150?
No, that not, but just the image.
I mean, I just talked to
Because the total-
one of the largest business developers in the city who basically said, you need to charge the fees.
You talk to business, big business, I talk to several small businesses, and I don't think you make an effort to go out and attract business people, more than ever, small businesses needing help and encouragement,
So you're
rather
saying
than imposing new fee and burden.
Make a difference.
It just create a good image, incentive. I mean, big companies are given incentive, small business do
Our
not.
citizens not in the business of providing incentives.
Because you never
We
own
want people to be
because you never
here,
own a business.
but we want people to pay. I
Because
don't
you never own a
represent the
business.
business.
Business
Daniel.
people bring-
I represent the citizen, I don't represent businesses.
No, but small business bring jobs and then pay tax. and
$30
bring
don't make that
values,
big a
and $30 not a big,
$30 don't make that big of a difference, that's my point.
No, Jerry, $30 is no big difference for someone that's in the magnitude of 2.5 million, as you were talking about. But somebody that's coming in with the small business, yes. I mean, they got they're not just paying this $30. I mean, they got other fees and other regulations that they go through. So we're talking, if it was 30 to 50, that's all they pay, yeah. Your point is well taken, but that's not the only 30 to 50 that they're paying.
No, there are other fees that go with your
And I
sign.
think,
What are typical fees for, total fees for a small business coming in?
I'm going to
Give me
turn
just
from
an
I'm going to turn for my help right now.
I mean, it's in the thousands of dollars, but, I mean, it ranges based on the type of sign you're trying to do and the plan that has to be done by whatever sign company. So it can be a few $1,000s to.
You got inspection fee, re-inspection fee, banner fee, permit fee, several fees.
But that's what I'm saying. What do you think
Some of those
the
would be applicable.
average fee is for a small business? Total
Average
fees?
Total fees? I would say under 5,000. But I mean, it depends on the type of sign.
Under 5,000?
I can say, when we looked at the number of sign permits pulled for the year 2011, the average sign permit fee that was paid was $100. $100 for the permit and $30 for the plan review. And what we're proposing is the plan review right now includes all inspections, all plan reviews, all resubmittals, and the proposal here separates that into a plan review fee and resubmittal fees, a inspection fee that's included in the permit plan review fees, and then any re-inspections after that first initial inspection. So on average, our businesses were paying, and that's both small and large, on average, most of the signs were under 96 square feet, and so they paid the maximum of $100 for the permit itself. Now, their, plans, drawing up the plans range depending on what sign company they contracted with and how much information they needed in order to do those plans.
So, I just ask a question. So what happens to, these shopping centers that gets remodeled or remade? And then if they need to reinstall or put their sign back up, so do they then go through, this is just kind of not this exact thing, because I have an issue where one of the properties in District C that got completely makeover over, and then the owner refuses to put the signs back up there that they had, so these the owners are now forced to go back. So does those fees again apply to them?
The proposed fees don't apply yet, and we have an effective date for the new sign ordinance. What we have done since the ordinance was adopted is kind of tested the waters with some of the applications that have come through. And so one of the shopping centers that was recently remodeled completely, and we were aware that tenants were going to come in requesting new sign permits. So they went ahead and created a master sign plan for all of their tenants in the shopping center. And so now each tenant that comes in would...
The new ones?
Each tenant, because they have to replace the signs that were taken off to do the facelift of the shopping center.
Right.
Each tenant would correspond with what that sign plan says for that center. And then the sign plan corresponds to what our requirements are for all signs in the city. And keep in mind, too, with the redevelopment standards that were in the old ordinance, a similar version of a master sign plan was required of them. There was just no fee associated with that review and no structure associated with them submitting that plan and us maintaining it, reviewing it, and all of that.
And I keep going back to this. When we do fee changes and things, I personally like to see what our competition's doing. I like to see what Sugar Land's doing, what Pearland's doing, what Stafford's doing. I don't care what anybody else is doing.
Well, you do need to know what Houston is doing.
Yeah, well, Houston's kind of out there.
They're overlay into a lot of
I
the
know.
suburban.
But, so when we look at our real competition for attracting small businesses, where do we lie with those?
We have the table that was provided in the packet, and as I read through this thing, I promise you, I'm confused because it doesn't really, nothing lines up good. The charges we have, that Pearland has, that Pasadena, Baytown, Conroe, Bel Air have, they just bounce, and you get 50% of permit fee, which is a very common charge. But Houston, $74.76 for plan review. Somebody studied hard to get that number. Humble's half of the permit fee. Katie's $10.
They probably is $70 plus tax.
And some, Houston, Baytown, and several others have annual operating fees.
Right.
Yes, they do.
Councilmember White.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
White has talked about. And we have some information in one of the memos to help you with that. If you look at it, it's very hard to draw the comparison because everybody charges something different and they call it something different.
And it's very hard to say that we're above the midpoint, because we don't know what the midpoint is.
It appears from looking at this chart that we tend to be. It appears to me that way.
And then when you say Katy, you got to know where Katy is, because everything that's Katy is not Katy.
I understand that too.
It's not in the city of Katy.
That's right.
But for the plan review fee, the one that staff proposed, the one that Councilmember Wynn proposed, I don't think either one of them are horrendously out of bounds. I think there's consistent if you look at the chart and at the table, and then you hit the cities that don't appear to charge anything, and I don't know how they're issuing permits without charging. It's
Well, they're probably getting it somewhere else.
That's what we suspect.
Yeah, they're getting
That
it somewhere
charge
else.
is embedded someplace
Yeah.
else, and we can't put 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. But we had charged everything under one price before. Help me with it, Jennifer, because she works with it more closely than I do. And we split that out in this proposed fee.
Well,
Because, we split it because there's really two functions going on, and trying to capture the function, the plan review, separate from the permit fee.
So do you feel that the fees that you recommended are adequate enough, if passed, or if not passed, will not shift costs to the taxpayers? Because bottom line, that's what it is.
We believe the fees that we proposed are adequate, but we do not believe they cover all of the expenses necessary to protect the general fund from the functions and activities of staff in reviewing the permits.
so you're saying, so you're saying what you're proposing does not meet the expenses?
We think that the general fund still contributes
They never do.
Yeah.
to it, even at the proposed new rates.
I disagree with the way Councilman Wyatt looking at it. You look at it as an expense. It's not like we're giving away that money, but to me, it's an investment. So what you want to do is do a cost-benefit analysis to give up a little bit amount of money, but you enhance the probability of bringing business to get into the city. So would produce much more potential revenues. So that's how I
If
look
that
at
business
it.
want to come to this town, and for me to spend my money, I'm not going to subsidize them at this level. I subsidize them by going in and buying the merchandise and enjoying whatever it is that they come to sell.
Let me just add something in. We had a sandwich place over on Highway 6 that just closed. We have several shopping centers, when we had this issue, that are still brand new, don't have any tenants in here. I think the purpose of what I would ask my colleagues is that, think about that, look at that. We're talking, if it was a large difference, I can see this is within a $20 difference, correct?
$20.
I mean, we're not even talking about Texas Park, but we're talking about right on prime real estate.
much money.
But that's not what drove that sandwich shop out.
No, I'm not talking about the sandwich shop. I'm talking about
The others.
there's something else that needs to come in. Now, we have shopping centers in those Highway 6 that have no tenant in it at all. I'm not talking about that $20 is going to make any difference, but I'm saying you got to think about that. We've got to bring in businesses.
Those shopping center owners build what they call a spec center, okay? Hoping that they're going to get business, or they're going to work to draw businesses. Those things are done on purpose. They're not businesses in there because the city hasn't done anything. And you know, that's the biggest lie that people ever tell citizens, that the city's going to bring all these business, and we can create the right atmosphere to encourage business, but businesses come to where they can make money and that they can provide a service that people are going to come and go to. But at the same time, I don't think our citizens should subsidize these businesses, you know, with permit fees or what have you. I think our citizens have expectation for us to create as much revenue to keep a balance where the citizens are not picking up this cost, and that's all I'm saying. And that's the way it really should be. We haven't gotten a second, by the way.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Well, I guess, Bob, do we have any feel what kind of an impact? I know we're talking about, $20, but it's more I think the impression of Missouri City wants to continue to be business friendly.
Thank you.
And, it's again, I don't think it's the dollar amount that we're talking about. I think it's the perception.
Thank you.
So, we're talking about this item, and, does it put out any kind of negative
I think the biggest thing that's going to...
position that it's...
The question that a lot of businesses are going to ask is in regards to speed. And, the $30 or $50, that becomes just, that's really a policy decision on the council's level. But really, as far as the speed that we're able to get businesses through the permitting process so they can get open. And that's one I know that Gary and his staff have made progress on and continue to look at. But again, that's going to be what a lot of businesses are going to still look at is it affordable, but also are you timely in getting me a permit so I can get my business open?
That's right. And we had, I think probably in the little piece that was done during my State of the City address that Sergio Escondida, his whole testimony was the speed in which we got his business
That's
open
right.
saved him so much money because he was open within 30 days. That's what's key. And I think that's what business owners are wanting. And Lord knows I have financed enough of them that $20 is not what's going to make or break them. It's the service that they get when they walk into the city is it a one-stop shop that they can come here and get everything, or is it something I'm going to have to continue to go back down there and continue to go back down there? They didn't tell me I needed this. Now they're telling me they need that. I think our businesses, and we've all heard them say that the speed in which we get them open is money. The sooner we can get them open, the sooner they can make money, and $20 is a cup of coffee.
Well, I agree with you, Mayor, but I disagree at the fact that if, as I'm hearing from staff, we're at the midpoint. There's no really reason for that additional $20. If we were on the lower end, absolutely. I don't disagree.
I don't know that we're at the midpoint on the cities that I'm most concerned with. So,
I would have to rely on the staff's recommendation. That's what I heard.
Was that a recommendation that we're at the midpoint, or was that an opinion? It was my understanding that you have much difficulty in trying to determine, what are the rates at the different cities, so how can you determine midpoint?
Not from what we've been shown.
So it's not, unless I'm misunderstanding, it's your perception of where we are, as opposed to a finite, we're at the midpoint.
Staff's recommendation is based on the cover sheet that's provided to you, was at the $50 for the signed permit review. Current fee is $30. Staff looked at it in regards to what is the better cost recovery for it, and that's with the $50. If council does decide, though, to look at it from more of a policy decision of the $30, to keep it at the regular amount, to make it a little bit more competitive, or to keep it at the same as the area, that's understandable. Staff's not trying to...
No, I don't know what it is.
But the operative word you said is, we need to be getting as much of the cost recovery back as we can. That's the operative word.
And let me just clarify on the plan review fee, it's actually, we went with the 50% of the permit fee, which for most small business, it would be about $100 for their permit fee. So the plan review fee would be $50. And it would be roughly $20 more than what they would pay.
Let me ask you something. Can we literally compare this one fee to the other cities that I mentioned?
No. From the chart?
Yes.
From the chart I have looked at, I do not find an immediately comparable fee.
It's different rules and regulations.
I don't understand this, then.
You can't compare.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. Sure, if they're willing to do a motion.
I'm asking the four that I asked. Where do we compare?
I'm looking at Sugar Land,
What do they charge?
and plan review has a dash beside it.
What does that mean? That it's somewhere else?
Let me go to my expert.
Or they call it something else, yes.
All right, let me ask you another question. Are we at a point where this has to take place tonight?
No.
I want to know where we compare. I don't care, I agree with Jerry, I don't want us subsidizing, and I also know that I'm the only one up here that puts people in business, or did until I retired. The rest of you guys up here don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Really?
You don't.
Really?
You're not in the banking business. You
Right.
don't finance
You don't
new
need to be in-
businesses.
You don't need to be in a
Yeah, you do,
business.
Robin.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do, because you got to finance it for
You're
them.
basically saying that all of us here have no idea, except
You
for
don't have any idea what it includes in financing a business. No, you don't.
Finance.
And $20 you want.
Man, finances is only one aspect of this business.
But
it's not the
I
whole
know
thing,
that,
man.
Danny, but I'm
Yeah, I mean,
saying
we
$20
can
is not what makes a difference in
I
whether
know,
a business
that's the whole
comes
point.
here.
It's so insignificant to create the negative image. We spend a lot
Not a
of money
negative
trying to
image
promote it.
if we're recovering what our costs are. That's what I want us to do. I want us to be
That's what the
fair,
citizen
but I
expects us
want
to
us
do.
to recover what our cost is in this deal, just like any other business does. They charge something to recover their cost. Okay, and that's why I'm asking if the other cities are out of line with us.
And for the city of Sugar Land, they have a permit fee. They just don't call out a plan review fee separate
do it
from their
different.
permit fee, yeah. So their permit fees encompass their plan reviews, and then they have a fee for site re-inspections. So they have a scale for the permit fee based on the size of the development, and whatever that comes out to be.
We don't.
No, ours we separate our plan review
So
and inspection fees.
if you tried to compare ours to them,
We would have to do it like example by example. So
That's
based
one
on
of the
their
things we can do
formula.
is, we'll take, you asked earlier, what's I guess, what was an average fee? And it was tough for us because there's really no average type business. What we can do is take a couple of different businesses and run models to show y'all what those costs are for those signs.
well, I guess the
in
other
those
question is,
cities.
why are we so different than everybody else then?
But
everybody
that doesn't mean.
And that's something we can show on there as far as what, we'll show you bottom
Are
line.
they right and we're wrong, or are they wrong and we're right?
And
And
having
how we
a-
structure our
Always
fees.
right.
And they're having a business model, that will give us some more insight, but what is kind of thrown things, when the question was asked, where do we compare? And it was said above midpoint, that threw things out. But then when we started really investigating that, it really clouded up the issue. That was discussed right during the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was discussed.
And you said the
And
total
and you
fee was
guys
$5
came to-
grand?
And you guys came to a conclusion on this. I'm over here, Jennifer, I'm over here. You guys came to a conclusion, right? As to if we had midpoint or something, so that was some sort of compensation being made there, or some comparison.
And that wasn't part of the conversation with
Okay, then what I want to do is when staff make recommendations, somehow Danny went and talked, he came back with some conclusions that we charging too much. I don't know where he got that from. But I like to know, because I don't see it here, because I don't have anything to compare it to.
Let me ask you a question. When they say 50% of permit fee, what's the permit fee? Not money, what is?
For Missouri City?
Yeah, when you say permit fee, what are you saying when you say permit fee?
The permit fee is the fee that they pay in order to be issued the permit to go start construction.
Okay.
So for Missouri City, we have the threshold of anything 95 square feet, wall signs, monument signs, anything 95 square feet or below is a $100 permit fee. Anything above 96 square feet and above is,
If we use Houston, Humble, then we'd be talking $50,
right,
because that's 50%.
right.
Okay, if we use Katy, if theirs was similar, theirs is 50%.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on our
Assuming that that's
permit.
Katy proper rather than
Right.
Well, Katy proper, Katy, Houston ETJ would not be in Katie's deal. Even though most of what we think is Katy is not Katy.
I just want us, when we get a recommendation, we kind of be ready on it.
Pasadena's really high, there's a minimum $100.
Jennifer, you said earlier when I asked you that what a typical new business would pay in total fees, you said $5,000?
It depends on the size of the business and the type of sign that they're trying to do, whether it's, what type of sign company, because they enter into a contract with the sign company. So, it ranges. So if it's a small, mom and pop shop, just putting up a small wall sign, it may be a couple of $1,000s for them to prepare the plan, bring the plan to the city for review. And then the sign company install the plan.
But what is the average?
So that's
asking the average.
I don't have the average. We'd have to.
We need the average data to make a decision.
Well, what we'll end up doing is not giving an average, because you can take Walmart, and then you'll have the mom and pop business, and the average I'll give you on that does not show a realistic. But what I can do is show you Chick-fil-A type business, or, like the different restaurants here, or whatever that came in. We can take a couple of different types of businesses and run those, what would it be here versus, I think there are 4 or 5 cities that you're really interested in.
Our competition.
And show you what those are. That way you can get an idea of, if I'm a Chick-fil-A owner in Missouri City, what does it cost to get me a sign versus Sugar Land or Fairland or Katy?
But I want all the fees in there.
The common thread in this, Mary, is that for most of these cities, is 50% of whatever that permit fee is. That's the common thread in here. And so we would need to know.
At that point,
Yeah,
we're dead on.
yeah.
Just so I understand.
Broken up our 50% of the permit fee.
And that's what our proposal
It'll probably be
is,
high.
because our
Be
current,
$75.
our current is $30. So whether it's Chick-fil-A, they would pay a $30 plan review. Whether it's Walmart, they would pay a $30 plan review. So it doesn't take into consideration the scale and the numbers of signs that are submitted. So this 50%, right, this 50%, the mom and pop shop, depending on, the size of their sign, if it's
That'd be tough.
if they're paying a $100 permit fee, then their plan review fee would be $50.
But your estimation, did that include the cost of the sign?
$50?
No, when you talked about the 5,000, yeah.
Well, and that's off-site cost. That's, between them and their contractor. It's not city fees.
But did that include that in your, I know that's
No,
just a
because
guess.
we don't go off of the valuation
Okay.
of the sign, so that wasn't part of
What
it.
I think we're asking, Jennifer, is our fees, not what they're paying for the
development of the sign.
the architectural drawings out, our fees. A typical business that comes into Missouri City, total fees, what do we charge versus what does our competition charge?
But you're
that's
saying
what-
total fee, but also, now within, this is right? Or are you just asking for the whole entire thing? If they
I'm
were
talking
paid?
about, if I were a small business and I came to you today, tell me what my permit fees are gonna be.
For existing, they would have a $30 plan.
I didn't say existing.
Well,
I'm a brand new business coming in the city.
The existing fees, not the proposed.
Right, what are they?
You would have a $30 plan review fee
Right.
for each permit application made. And you would have, depending on the size of the sign, if it's 95 square feet or under, then it's a $100 permit fee. If it's 96 square feet or above,
Okay.
then it's a $100 base fee plus 5 cents for every foot that it's above
All right,
96
so we
square.
know what those fees are.
Right.
Our question is, compare those to our competition.
Yeah.
I don't care what the architect charges. I don't care what the sign company charges. What does Missouri City charge?
We need to compare.
What does Sugar Land charge?
We need to compare 50%
Yeah.
of the permit fee.
Right.
Basically, that's what everybody's doing.
That's what we're, yeah.
We'll come to that conclusion once we know what he
Well,
asked.
I'm trying to make
That's
sure
what
they
I'm
get good
saying.
direction.
Yeah, I like what you said. May I withdraw my motion and make a new motion that we postpone this decision until we have more data and statistics?
Yeah, we need to compare apples to apples and not apples to
Second.
oranges.
Yeah.
But in addition that, we need to know what it costs the city to do the permit, because
Yes.
that's the whole
Yes.
idea of
I agree
doing
with
it.
that.
That also.
Yeah.
Because you'd asked two questions. One is, how do we compare? And the second one was, what does it cost us to provide the service?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think what we're blowing out of kilter here is when you add all that other stuff in there, it looks like a big number. And I'm telling you, financing these people, that isn't a big number. They expect to pay that. It's all that other stuff. But that's a decision they have to make. Do they want a $50,000 sign or do they want a $10,000 sign? That's their decision. And do they want to go pay an architect to, yeah. Let's just talk about what Missouri City charges versus our competition. Okay. All right, then there was a motion
Second,
and a second
to pass.
to postpone this until we have better information. Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. And guys, again, let me just say that any time that we go to change fees, I think we keep asking the same question over and over and over. How do we compare to other people? How do we compare to our competition? I guarantee you, Methodist, Memorial, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, we know what our competition charges, and we price our services accordingly. We're no different.
Well,
Pitney Bowes says too. 11B. Don't leave you out.
Move on.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, submitting that certain projects be considered for funding by inclusion in the 2013-2016 Transportation Improvement Program as developed by the Houston-Galveston Area Council and to consider local matching funds. Various contribution rates to be determined by Houston-Galveston Area Council for such projects as they occur.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's needed.
Doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Doesn't
Need
hurt
to be
to
at the
ask.
trough. All those in favor? Motion carried. All right, item 11C.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, adopting rules of procedure for the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee of the City of Missouri City, Texas, and repealing all of their resolutions in conflict herewith.
All right, I go back to my original question. Are we seeing what P&Z approved?
the rules of procedure that are attached to the resolution in your packet are exactly as P&Z approved.
However, if I may, Mayor and Council, upon further consideration of the rules, legal would also like to recommend that Council strike Section 503 of the rules.
Wait a minute, stop right there, I just asked. Now, legal steps in. I'll ask again, is what's presented to us the same thing P&Z approved, or are you changing it legal?
Legal's not changing it. Legal's making a recommendation to council to amend what was presented to you from P&Z, that being Section 503.
And why?
Yes. Section 503 pertains to the filing deadlines for applications that are submitted not to P&Z but to the planning department. Because the rules don't specifically pertain to the governance of the commission and to the affairs of the commission, legal is asking that the rules be removed. Additionally to that, the timeframe for which applications are submitted is provided for by state law, as well as in the city's subdivision ordinance. There are specific parameters there.
Okay.
So in order to avoid any type of overlap or conflict, legal's just recommending the removal of that, it's one sentence, Section 503, from the rules, just so the application submission deadline is clear. Additionally, the deadline is actually also provided for in the application for plating as well as for zoning application.
Did you all recommend that to P&Z?
I did not recommend that to P&Z.
Why?
Upon further consideration, it became more evident that it didn't belong there. So
But
that was a mistake.
operationally, this does not change P&Z's operations.
No, it does not change.
Since this filing have to do with what they
the
do with
depart-
staff.
Correct. It does not change P&Z's operations at all.
I move to adopt with the recommendations from the Assistant City Attorney.
All right, it's been a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Wise, is there a second? Second by Councilman Emery. And the reason I ask this, guys, don't let P&Z make these recommendations to us, and then you come in here at a later date. I knew that happened. That's what you're here for. Don't let them make that mistake.
Right, and that's completely my fault.
You need to research this before it ever goes to them. let them make those recommendations, because it doesn't look good on their part. Does the chairman want to make a comment?
That was our concern because we didn't see approval. We got the rules of procedure as we've had in the past, and we thought when we voted and passed it that there were no changes for it.
I understand.
Then all of a sudden, I get this past week, that there's going to be a recommendation to make a change to it without us having the opportunity to pass on that ourselves.
I know that. I watched the meeting, that's why I asked. I ask on your behalf, Mr. Chairman.
But I will say to E. Joyce is, being new, we're kind of like a bunch of old trees in the forest. We've looked at it so long till we don't see it anymore, so we do appreciate you identifying what we need to take care of.
Just help them out.
Okay, thank you.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. There are no city council announcements that I'm aware of, are there, Ed?
I didn't want to discourage you.
Is there closed executive session item?
No. There is none.
Our workshop's still on? It's gotten changed so many times. Our retreat, grand opening of the
Retreat's still scheduled for the 27th? Whatever Friday.